Hello guys. So some of you have been asking for Kim Taehyung's prediction, and I wanted to make it, but let me just put a disclaimer over here that this prediction might not be very accurate because um, we do not have the exact birth time, and you might say that we did not have exact birth time for Jungkook as well. But in his case, the day he was born, September 1, 1997, no matter at what time you're born, except if he was born in around 12 a.m. or 4 a.m., I think till 4 a.m., except for those time, he would have been born in Magha Nakshatra no matter what, okay? And if he was born in 12 a.m. to 4 a.m., he would have been in Aslesha Nakshatra, and he does not give very Aslesha traits. So it was easy to predict him as Magha Nakshatra also because of other traits which I have mentioned in my previous videos. But in his case, it is hard to predict because if we take the time that we have in the internet, that is 5:56 a.m., it will be in Pisces, Reti Nakshatra, but he could have been born in evening as well, right? We don't know the exact time. And if we take the evening time, he will be born in Aries, in Ashwini Nakshatra, so it's very contrasting signs that we get. So yeah, I will try to make this prediction as accurate as possible, and please do not take this prediction that seriously. I mean, do not take any of my prediction that seriously. Take it as a form of knowledge and entertainment maybe, although I will explain everything that I predicted. So yeah, hope you enjoy. So on the first part of this video, we will talk about his personality, his mind, conscious and subconscious. So being born in the sign of Pisces, Reti Nakshatra, so we are gonna take the time that we have on the internet. So being born in this sign, this is a very creative sign. Let me just mention that. Yeah, he will have a very giving nature, and this is also one of the reasons that he gives out that very mystical dual aura that we all find very interesting. And yeah, because it's a very mystical nakshatra, and many people will not be able to relate to him unless you have a basic emotional and spiritual understanding of things. Unless you can think of your five senses, you will not really be able to understand him or even like predict his behaviors, because again, he's a very unpredictable person. So Revati is a sign which is ruled by Mercury, okay? So he is ruled by Mercury, and if you take the time that we have in the internet, that is 5:56 a.m., our ascendant will also be in a Mercury dominant sign, that is Jesta. And something that we see with Mercury dominant men is that they have a very fluctuating sexual desires. Their Mercury also being the sign which is very curious, wants to experiment with sexual stuff. So yeah, and this is also a sign with very high sex drive. Also, he is very visionary, and he has a very creative communication style, very natural artistic talent. I mean, I think we all can see that. And yeah, another thing that we all might be curious of him having, you know, how people talk about him, people wanting to see him in a act or a movie where he is seen as this evil villain who is a little bit psycho and wants to experiment with things. So it's because of his moon sign that he is giving that aura. There's other reasons as well, but I will get to that as well. That aura that we all are so fascinated by is also because of his moon sign. Another reason is because of this one conjunction that we have in his birth chart, that is Mercury-Venus conjunction, which is creating those talent. And this is also the conjunction where he can basically charm anyone to get what he wants, okay? Yeah, so it's not necessarily an evil way. I mean, unless he wants to use it in an evil way. But yeah, this is not, you don't have to necessarily take this in a very evil way. Another thing that I see is his conjunction in 12th house, that is Ketu and Moon conjunction. And your 12th house represents your spirituality, it also represents your subconscious. So, because it is conjunct with Moon and Ketu is a headless planet, it does not really make you think from your mind, it makes you think from your heart, it makes you intuitive. And it's sitting with Moon, which is creating something like an eclipse, which will stay there for until he's like 32 and 35. After that, it will leave. So that kind of shows that he got spiritual nourishment from his motherly figure, since we all know that he didn't actually live with his parents, he lived with his grandmother. So he must have got some spiritual nourishment from his grandmother. Okay. Also, him again, that aura that makes us really curious towards him is also because of this conjunction. Also, this conjunction makes him excellent in research, especially after the age of 32. It's an excellent place for research, it's an excellent place for receiving enlightenment. It kind of shows that this person will get enlightenment in this life if he respects his female figures. Not only that, this placement also makes him see imaginary things or have, like, growing up having imaginary friends. Listen, okay guys, do not think that he has some mental disorder or anything like that. Yes, he is prone to those things very much, but it's not necessary, okay? So another thing that we see is that he will be more spiritual after marriage. Again, because I saw his D9 chart and Ketu is again in 12th house. He is made to be like, it's like a God gift, it's like a stamp from universe that he has to be spiritual. He's naturally very spiritual, naturally very psychic. Yeah. And he will also attain a spouse who is very spiritual, who can think of life and death, think of basic things in life, can understand the higher sense of purpose in life. So he is very insecure of his emotions, his mind, his thinking ability. And that's also because he's constantly suppressing his emotions, because he does not understand it. Because I told you, Moon is your mind, Moon is your emotions, okay? And Moon is conjunct with Ketu. And also it is aspected by Rahu, okay? These two shadow planet, which creates an eclipse, which makes him like, it's like his mind is in shadow, okay? It's covered in smoke and shadow and fog, which is not letting him see the light, it's not letting him see through, which is why he does not know how to understand himself, understand his emotions. He does not know how to lead his emotions properly, does not have very strong emotional stability. And that's also one of the reasons he can become very moody or have very sudden emotional outburst. And this is also the reason, even in D9 he has Ketu in 12th house, and again in D1 he has Ketu in 12th house with Moon, which is completely afflicted. So that's one of the reasons he is very prone to depression, very, very prone to depression. And this is a type of depression where he does not understand why he's sad. He's just sad, but he has no idea why he's sad. He has no idea how to lead his emotions. But this will become less after the age of 32, because the shadow planets will leave its eclipse on him, and this will be a little bit less after those age. And the placement that you usually see in his birth charts are the placement that we usually see in spiritual leaders, occult leaders, who have access to information that nobody freaking has, because they have this connection with the outside world, even the underworld and even the divine. So yeah, and they can hear voices, they can see things. And also because his Rahu is aspecting the moon, he's like seeing these dreams about ghosts, and is just naturally connected with black magic and all those things and all those mystical things. It's not just one placement, it's just 2, 3, many placements just showing this mystical behaviors, connection with underworld and divine and black magic and all of that. While I was reading certain watching certain videos on YouTube, I don't know who, but someone said that he knows a certain spells and stuff like that, and I was like, what? How? He's like so busy and all of that. And now it perfectly makes sense. You know what? He might know because he is very, very intuitive. His mind is just wow. Like nobody fucking understands this. If you cannot think above life and death, you're not gonna understand him. It's impossible. Because his Venus is in Shravana, he again makes him very intuitive, very interested in occults and those things. Okay, as I said previously, he is Venus and Mercury is conjunct, and both in Capricorn. Mercury is in Uttarashada and Venus is in Shravana, but both in Capricorn Nakshatra. So Mercury in his birth chart is in lowest degree. That means Mercury represents its spouse, and Venus also represents its spouse because he's a guy, and in a man's chart, Venus is his spouse. So yeah, here Venus and Mercury is conjunct. So what Mercury as Dharkaraka and his spouse, what it predicts is that his spouse will be someone who has problem-solving skills, has a good communication skills, and can be a little bit rebellious because Mercury as Dharkaraka represents you getting a spouse who is of a very youthful energy, very young. You know, young people are rebellious, young people like breaking rules, almost something like acts like a Rahu, who doesn't like to be under control. And this is such a significant point over here. His spouse will be someone who hates control, okay? Freedom is like the most important thing for his spouse. Freedom is so important in this situation for her that if she does not have the freedom that she wants, relationship may not be worth it for her. So because Venus is in Shravana, which represents listening to something, she may be someone who loves listening to music, audiobooks, or spiritual teachings, podcast, all of that. Mercury as Dharkaraka also represents a spouse who is quite younger than him. Not only it represents a youthful energy, it also represents a spouse who is a lot more younger than him. There might be at least 5 years of age gap, 4, 5, 6, 7 years of age gap. So his spouse that I see over here is someone who is very good in creative stuff, someone who's curious, someone again who has a dual nature again. But because it's in Capricorn, she's also going to be someone who is going to be hardworking, can be someone who's in marketing positions, public speaker or administrative post, can be a lawyer, can be in government jobs, depends. Can be in a fashion designer, anything that Mercury and Venus represents. Mercury is mind, your communication skills, and Venus is creativity. So someone who is good in logic, someone who's intellectual, someone who radiates intellect and good communication skills. His spouse will be someone who will help him speak out his emotions, all of that. And there will be this thing that his wife will also be one of his best friends. So when you have Mercury as Dharkaraka and Venus is also conjunct there, So you will have a spouse who is your lover and your best friend at the same time. Even without conjunction of Venus, you will still have a very good friendship with your spouse. I think that is very beautiful. I love this position because this is something that I want. I mean, even though he has a very high sex drive, he might be sexually attracted easily, but he is not the type of person who is easily influenced by another gender, because for him, someone who has a sense of responsibility and intellect is very important. I also see that his spouse can be someone who will lead him to spirituality as well. Even his spouse can think of her five senses. So yeah, we're gonna have a very spiritual relationship to see in the future, maybe. If you share few qualities of his spouse, then you will be attracted to him. That does not necessarily mean that you are his spouse, but even if you share certain qualities, you will be attracted to him. For example, his spouse, you will have Mercury dominant traits, right? So if you're Virgo or Gemini, you'll be attracted to him. Another thing, if you're Aslesha Nakshatra, very high chance to be attracted to him. If you're Jyeshtha, Sun, Moon and Rising, one of that, again, you're gonna be attracted to him. Capricorn, again, you're gonna be attracted to him. So look out for these traits, okay? So again, like I said in the previous video of Jungkook, just because you have a very strong emotional attraction to him does not necessarily mean that you are his spouse. It could mean that you share some qualities of his spouse, and that could be the reason why you are creating that attraction towards him. Also, look out for your Ketu dominant signs. If you're Ketu dominant nakshatras, then you're likely to be attracted to him. If you are Saturn dominant nakshatras, again, you are also likely to be attracted to him. One thing that I would like to mention is that a lot of people commented on my previous video that Jungkook is Virgo, that he is not Leo. Yes, he is Virgo in tropical astrology, but in Eastern astrology, he is Leo. So same thing over here. Yes, he is Capricorn in Western astrology, but in sideral astrology, he is most likely Pisces. So yeah, that is all for today. This is my prediction of King Taehyung, and hope you guys liked it. Maybe I'll see you in my next video. Bye!